The Congregational Federation are delighted each year to work with Congregational Insurance to present the Serving the Community Awards. And each year we encourage churches to share their stories about how they work with others. This year, because of the pandemic, we've not run the awards, but we do have with us today our winners from last year, and we're going to celebrate with you. Thank you very much, Margaret. Margaret Slater from Congregational Insurance is here with us. Thank you, Margaret, for the generosity of Congregational Insurance once again, and for your time and commitment to this team. So over to you.
Yvonne. Well, hello, and it's lovely to finally meet you all after the delay on the presentation of the awards from last year. I think we can all agree that we've had a lot to cope with over the past year, and I'm sure you're all going to feel very proud of the work that you've done with your local community and the fact that we as an organisation are recognising that. In fact, I think one of the positive fallouts that's come from the pandemic is that we've all seen how important it is to be part of a community and how much we need to be with each other and to interact with other people. As Yvonne's already said, Congregational Insurance is the sponsor of the awards, and I do have the privilege of sitting on the judging panel and getting the opportunity to go out and meet and see some of the work that you guys do in your churches. And I think it's amazing how much you can all do in small numbers often. You're committed to working on a voluntary basis, all pulling together for one social cause, and I think that's really important. So I think what I'm really saying is that the church programmes do make a difference, and we as an organisation are delighted to acknowledge the efforts of the volunteers, church workers, in some cases employees, through our award programme. So today we have two equal winners, and each of these will receive a cash award of £2,000 and a plaque. So, firstly, we have Kevin and Lindsay Potter, who are the joint ministers from Springwater Peppard Church, and they're joined by Judy from their leadership team. So I'd like to hand over the plaque, which you should have now, and say congratulations to you. You will receive an award of £2,000. Our second winner is the schoolroom and chapel at Woodham Ferrers, and to receive the award today we have Eric Fennick, their minister, and Emma Hunnable, the community pastor. They also should receive a plaque and their cash prize.
Oh, thank you so much, Margaret. Well done, everyone. Well done. So let's hear a little bit more about these awards and why you've got these awards. So let's go to you, Kevin and Lindsay first. What was the inspiration for the project, and how has it impacted on the community?
I'll speak the first bit, and then Judy can feed in how it's impacted the community. One of the things that we did for the inspiration of the project, in a sense, and it was a partnership with the church, is we asked the church when we first came, what are their hopes and dreams? What is it that God has put in their heart that they want to live out in the community? And out of that came artisan bread making course, which a lady was running Compassionate Loaf, Claire was running Compassionate Loaf, and it kind of connected together with Springwater, and we were able then to help it flourish and to grow and run Monday morning free artisan bread making workshops. But Judy can maybe highlight how then it's gone on and impacted the community both here and in India. Judy?
I joined, Claire Pelling started a group called Compassionate Loaf. I had never baked a loaf of bread in my life before, and we joined together. Claire had a heart for using the skills that she had learned, to pass them on to others so that we could share them with the community, either to share bread with the community or to share the skills so that they could go out and share those skills and bless their communities. It's been amazing to see how it hasn't just blessed the community as such, because we've been able to help with the food bank. We've been baking for the food bank. We've been baking for our communities during lockdown. And before that, before lockdown, we had a little band of us had been meeting every Monday, and it has been amazing. So we've ended up with people from all over the place who were walking past and smelt the bread and came in and joined us. We've had people, we've got a couple from our church who he had a stroke several years ago and finds life very difficult. And we've had a lady who was suffering from cancer and going through treatment. And so it's become an outreach, as it were. Some of them were Christians, some of them were not Christians, just people walking past who came in and found a place where they could be themselves, where they could find community and love and acceptance, and a place to just feel safe. We've also raised a lot of money for charity. From the time that Claire started Compassionate Loaf in 2014 until today, Compassionate Loaf has raised £25,000 worth for charity.
Wow.
And we continue to look for ways to reach into the community, into local charities that we can give to. And so it's been, apart from the fact that we've built really strong relationships within the team, we also went in 2019, we went to India to teach some of the ladies who had been rescued from trafficking or from various awful situations. We were able to go to India and teach them how to bake artisan bread in order that they would have a trade, as it were, because most of them didn't have in much formal education. It was very difficult for them to find jobs. So they are going ahead now. They're opening their own cafe where they will supply artisan bread and food for their community.
Just on the back of that as well is that since that time doing workshops here, now there's workshop developing not just in India but also in an area of Reading, which is quite a tough area, and then also there's a baker in Henley-on-Thames that wants to partner with Compassionate Love to support churches there. And I think we say we've seen more discipleship happening over a table full of flour than maybe some of the discipleship programs we set up in church.
There's also a lady from the Philippines that came to learn. She hasn't been able to take her skills to the Philippines yet, but a lot of people are practicing at home in order to be able to go out to their communities.
Oh, thank you. Wow, thank you. That's brilliant. Okay, same question then for Emma and Eric. Tell us about the inspiration for your project and how it's impacted your community.
Well, if I kick off and then Emma can continue. When we met Margaret, when Margaret came to have a look at what we were doing, we were very much into our community cafe and also soft play, which was really beginning to, make an impression. And we were going on with those outreach things. Unfortunately, the virus came along and changed everything. And it was during those first few months of the lockdown, or first few weeks or so of the lockdown, Emma and I would speak to each other 2 or 3 times a week, and during the course of those conversations we always had a prayer time over the phone. And over those weeks and what turned out to be months, we both felt that our commitment, our outreach was serving the community through faith in action. And so Emma had contacted FareShares. I'll let her talk about that in a moment. And we discussed doing things like, you know, God willing, in the time to come, job club and community allotment and stuff like that. And so the months went by and we got to the beginning of September, and that was when we really did start the work that we're doing today, which is food pantry. So it's supplying food on a carrier bag size to families that are, one reason or another, in difficult circumstance. And about Christmas time, we were talking together and we said we could really do with getting all the food out of the schoolroom, because it won't be too long before, God willing, we want it to be a cafe again and an outreach centre. So it'd be great if we could buy a container. Well, I had no idea what the price of containers were, but I soon found out that they were in very short supply, because lots of them were caught up in various docks around the world. We knew that we wanted one that was going to be lined and also have what's called a bulkhead door. So you open the metal doors and there's a door behind it. We didn't want a large one. Now, this is how God can be seen at work in all of these things, which is just so amazing. The first company I called, I told him what I was looking for, and he said, well, he said, I've got one, he said, that was used for a site office. He said, it's in really nice condition. He said, it's completely lined. It's got all the electrics in it that's available just to wire up and use. It's got the bulkhead door, and it was in really good condition. We've had that delivered now, and it's sitting now in our car park and properly, you know, blocked out so that it's sitting on proper sleepers. It's been wired up, ready for use. Emma this morning actually has been to collect the shelving for it. So that's all ready to go. So when we applied for the community award scheme, that money was going to go to soft play, but the money now has been redirected into this container to store the food that goes out with the pantry bags. But because of the pantry bags, we've now met families that are just as likely to come into the schoolroom as and when we are allowed to do so. So if I just hand over to Emma now, and then you can talk about FareShares and community pantry.
Yeah, so we realised that actually, because the cafe had closed, that actually that stopped our income as well, because obviously the income from the cafe enabled us to do the outreach things that we did. So we needed to be really creative. So I told about FareShare, so I gave them a ring, and they said that we could collect some food from our local Tesco's Express store twice a week. And at that time, we also received a letter from the local council saying that they were doing grants for COVID for food. So that started us off. So we said, well, there's no harm in giving it a go and just see what happens. So we applied for a grant, which we were awarded. And I started the twice weekly trips to pick up the bread and the other little bits, fruit from Tesco. So we'd had some families that we knew that we could support, and I put some bits on Facebook as well. And we had some families that actually contacted us via Facebook saying that they could really do with some support, and what was the criteria. And we said there is no criteria, you know, just from replying to a Facebook message says it all, really. So we did that over the summer, and we got really good links with FareShare. Great guy called Bradley helped us out a lot with picking up the stuff and pointed us in direction with different bits. And then I got to learn about their community pantry scheme. I kept hearing about the other food they were sending out, so we did a little bit more of homework and everything, and realised that we could actually get food from them that's well within date, that's just the excess that supermarkets have each week delivered, that we'd be able to give out to our families, which would give the families a lot broader range of food than we could currently give them at the moment. So this has been going on all summer. So I applied for lots of grants, and I've also applied for another grant again from this morning from the council. They've got to know what we're doing, and they offered us another grant of £450 for food that's got to be spent by the end of the week. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge, but I'm up for a challenge. But again, it's lovely how they are now seeing what we're doing, and we're getting those feedback letters back and everything. And we also applied for a community fridge through the council as well, and we've been awarded a community fridge as well. So I'm just waiting to hear for about delivery for that as well. So that will all go into the container. So the container is there for our new food pantry, ready to go really. And we've started to pick up from Co-op, our local Co-op store, and I was having a chat with the girl in the Co-op last week, and she said that she went to a toddler group in Southend, and she said, I'm a member of their community pantry, and she told me that she pays her £1 a year subscription, and then that she can get food from them, a bag for £3.50 each week, and linking it into toddlers. So we are going to link it into our toddler group when we're starting up, so more people can really benefit from having the access to food pantry.
Oh, that's wonderful.
We should actually add that we're not at the moment, we don't charge for the pantry bags.
No.
They're given. And also when the time is right, we still will be doing, we've got some soft play equipment, and that will be coming out, and that will resume when it's possible to do.
I think with both projects, it's just wonderful how even despite the pandemic, they've grown and God's used them as opportunities still to be able to serve your community in that time, and seen how they've been able to bless. So thank you so much for sharing your stories this afternoon. Kevin and